Hi guys, we're going to go over the essay for not Thunder Rose, Island of the Blue Dolphins. So this is Island of the Blue, I'll just call it for short. I'm going to do this video just to go over the essay notes, things that you need to include in your essay for tomorrow. Okay. On Tuesday, I assigned the YouTube reading video so that you could read the weekly story or watch the video that read it to you. The essay question for this week is right here in this box. It says, look back and write. Cutting poles for a house was physically challenging for Karana. How did she meet this challenge? Then underneath you have your Remember You Should box. These are all the things you need to make sure you're including in your essay. Then you have, we need to make sure we explain how Karana met the goal of cutting poles for her house. We need to make sure to include all steps involved in the process. We need to use details from the story to support your explanation. And you need to communicate your ideas clearly and make sure you check for spelling, punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure. So off to the right, I have our race to respond, or our race paper. So as I go and answer this essay question, I want to make sure that I'm filling in these boxes. Once I've filled in these boxes, I can put them all together, and it should make me a 5 to 6 sentence paragraph answer for my essay. First thing, I need to restate the question. The question is, how did she meet this challenge? So I can change it to Karana. Let me make this red. So it looks different. Okay. Karana met the challenge of doing what? What was the challenge that she had? So if I go back and look at my question right here, what is the challenge that Karana met? The challenge was to cut poles for her house, right? So I'm going to say she met the challenge of cutting poles for her house. That's it. I don't want to tell you how she met the challenge. I don't tell you when she met the challenge. I am just telling you she did meet the challenge. So I'm restating the question, and the question is right here. How did she meet the challenge? All I'm saying is she met the challenge, and now I'm going to go answer that question. Karana met the challenge by, and now I need to think, well, I don't remember the story. So since you watched the video or read it on Tuesday, you might have to go back and look at the video, which I happen to have for us right here.
Was able to take 8 steps between the sides of the fence, which gave me all the room I would need to store the things I gathered and wished to protect. I built the fence first because it was too cold to sleep on the rock, and I did not like to sleep in the shelter I had made until I was safe from the wild dogs. The house took longer to build than the fence because it rained many days and because the wood I needed was scarce. There was a...
Okay, stopping there, it said that it took many days for her to build the house because the wood she needed was scarce. Scarce meaning there wasn't very much wood she could find, on top of the fact that she needs dry wood, okay?
Legend among our people that the island had once been covered with tall trees. This was a long time ago, at the beginning of the world, when Tumayawit and Mukut ruled. The two gods quarreled about many things. Tumayawit wished people to die. Mukut did not. Tumayawit angrily went down to another world under this world, taking his belongings with him. So people die because he did.
Okay, so they just told a short story about the history of why there are trees on the island, or when it used to be covered with trees. Now, if I go back and I look at my question, does that have anything to do with my essay? Does it talk about how Karana met the challenge of cutting poles for her house? No. Okay, so that's a good little story in there, but that is not something that I need to include in my essay. I need to keep going.
In that time there were tall trees, but now there were only a few in the ravines, and these were small and crooked. It was very hard to find one that would make a good pole. I searched many days, going out early in the morning and coming back at night, before I found enough for a house.
So the first thing, she met the challenge by doing what? So Karana she went many days out looking for what? For her trees, right? So several days it took her to go, to keep going and looking out and gathering trees and looking for trees to use.
I used the rock for the back of the house, and the front I left open, since the wind did not blow from this direction. The poles I made of equal length, using fire to cut them as well as a stone knife.
Okay, stop. That's a good important piece here. Now she's talking about cutting the poles or cutting the trees. The poles I made of equal length using fire to cut them, as well as a stone knife, which caused me much difficulty because I had never made such a tool before. So, if I go back to my essay question, how did she meet the challenge of cutting poles for her house? She met the challenge by, one, by using fire and a stone knife to cut the poles. Okay, so now it says cite your evidence. So this is where I'm going to put in the story. It says, okay, so here's my evidence starters, text starters that we talked about in reading this week and last week. Now I need to go back and I need to go back to the story and I need to say in the story it says Karana searched many days for the trees for her house. Okay, so far I have 1, 2, 3 sentences. Okay, I can also put the text states that she did not know how to use a stone knife, so it was difficult for her. Okay, because if I go back to the reading,
which caused me much difficulty because I had never made such a tool before. There were 4 poles on each side, set in the earth, and twice that many for the roof. These I bound together with sinew and covered with female kelp, which has broad leaves.
Okay, so if I go back to my essay notes here, I have 2 sentences here in this box, which gets me 4, and now I just need an ending, and I can go back and I just need a sentence about Karana. Maybe her being brave, maybe her never giving up, her trying to meet her challenge, something like that to end your paragraph. So I'm going to say Karana never gave up and tried her best. Okay? It could be a simple ending sentence, just kind of how her personality is. She always tried. She never gave up. She was determined to make a house, okay? Something as an ending sentence about Karana meeting the challenge, okay? So now I have all of my sentences here. I'm going to put those all together, and those are all going to become my essay. So if I go and I'm just going to copy my, let's see if I can do this on a separate page. So once you have an idea of what you're going to write for your paragraph, like you have your 5 to 6 sentences, then I'm going to end up putting them all together in order to make an essay. So there's my first sentence, then I answered the question here, here's my second sentence, and obviously you are going to do this as you go along, but if you are watching this video and you're taking notes right now and you're kind of writing down, please do not make it the same as mine, okay? So you're trying to come up with some of your own stuff or make your sentences a little bit different than mine so it's not exactly mine. Because if it ends up being exactly my essay, I'm not going to give you the full points for it because I wrote this and you didn't. Okay, so here's my essay answer all together. And all I did was take my answers from my erase paper and I put them together to make my paragraph. Okay? All right, good luck.